I've seen a lot of people recently giving advice to other flippers to say, during this recession, stop flipping houses. And today, I want to tell you why that's a horrible idea. What's up, everybody? If we haven't met, my name is Bill Allen. I'm a Navy pilot turned full-time real estate investor. I've flipped and wholesaled over 800 houses in the past few years. And today, I want to dive into an article that I was reading and a lot of things that people have been telling me recently. They're thinking about getting out of real estate. They're asking me, is this a good time to get into real estate? They're concerned. They've been investing for the last 3 or 4 years, flipping houses, making a ton of money, and wondering what's happening or what's going to happen in the impending market, and maybe they should figure out something else to do. I think that's a horrible idea. So let's jump into this article that I found. Okay, keep in mind, it's a Canadian article. That's okay. I've seen the exact same articles and very similar sentiments here in the U.S. Cool housing market puts a freeze on flipping is the title of this. And it's written by a guy who is being interviewed, who is a full-time flipper and also a coach to flippers in real estate. They're also realtors. What I thought was interesting is when they start talking about the houses in Toronto. So this is a GTA, the Greater Toronto area that they're talking about, down 19% compared to February 2022. They go on to talk about they're finishing up on all the properties they're working on. So here's the math doesn't make sense right now for flipping, they say. We're finishing up everything on the properties we bought a year or more ago. First of all, there's the first red flag that I saw. You should not be working on properties for multiple years unless they're doing massive, massive reconstruction. But we want to get in and get out of these deals. So as a flipper, you want to get in and get out of the deal as quickly as possible. The longer you hold a project, in the past few years, it's been good because the market's gone up, but now the longer you hold the project, the more likely it is to be an uncertain future, right? It's a little foggy. Some investors may decide to rent their property out and short-term hold it. We're still deciding about one that's just completed, whether to bring it out in September to sell or wait until next spring. If you have a plan to renovate and resell a house and you have a backup plan that could be a good long-term rental or cash out refinance or a short-term rental, that's great. But if you're coming into these properties, flipping them, and that's all you're looking at is just flip, you might have problems renting out these properties. Not going to cash flow. You're going to be holding on. You're going to get into cash crunch. Here's what they go on to say. He expects to see some deals emerge in the next 6 to 12 months because some homeowners won't be able to refinance and will be forced to sell. However, anyone wanting to buy right now should look for something that produces an income like a rental property. They go on to say, if the market comes back in the next 2 years, you can always start renovating and flip it then. The housing supply in Toronto and GTA is extremely low, so I don't really see how this drop is going to be endless. So they go on further on here to say, that they're recommending that you should stop flipping houses for the next couple years, which blew my mind. I mean, these are full-time flippers, I think, unless they have another income. And if you're a full-time flipper, like I'm a full-time real estate investor, we have full-time real estate investors that watch this channel that are inside of our masterminds. Your job is to buy and sell houses. You're a house dealer. If you don't have houses to sell, you can't make money. You don't have a business, right? It's almost like telling a grocery store to say, stop buying groceries to sell at your grocery store. You know, you have to have inventory. And so what you need to do, instead of this recommendation, okay, instead of stopping and just saying, I'm going to quit for a couple years until the market comes back and gets good, there is a ton of money and wealth transfer that's about to happen, okay? You're going to want to be a part of it. Figuring out how to flip, figuring out how to run your numbers, figuring out how to manage projects, figuring out how to raise money, all of that stuff is really, really important right now. Because as people take this advice and get washed out, it's going to provide more opportunity for you. And the more distress that comes into the marketplace is better for us as flippers and wholesalers. We live in distressed property and distressed people, right? The distress that comes into the marketplace is our inventory. And so I would say do not stop flipping houses. I think that's the worst advice ever. In fact, you should be leaning in further. We've been talking about this for months now. The uncertainty that happens is going to make people concerned. It's going to make some people fearful, and they're going to get out. That's going to open up the avenue for you. People are going to need more help in these times. People are going to have more uncertainty in these times. When you can come in with certainty, you can figure out how to negotiate and adjust a price that makes them win and you win. So what do you need to do? You need to know your numbers really, really well. You need to start dialing in, and you need to start looking and projecting 3 to 6 months down the road. And to do that, you have to start looking at probability. What is the probability that the market is going to be cut in half, values in half, in 3 to 6 months? Extremely low. Look at history. How far back are you able to look to say, in previous times, we saw approximately, some of the worst that we saw was maybe 2% decline per month. So you could actually build in a 10 to 12% decline in 6 to 8 months, right? And so if you start building in those into your model, you can start projecting and forecasting potentially worst case, and then a middle of the road, and then best case. What's been happening over the past few years is most of you that have been flipping houses, you've been just rolling in it. The prices have gone up, you've seen 30% increase year over year, and you look like a genius. Even when your timeline goes over, your budget goes over, and everything goes over, and you're spending more money on the project, you're getting bailed out. Operational effectiveness and efficiency is going to be key. Knowing your budget, staying on timeline, and the cool thing is all the contractors, everybody else that has been basically just charging an insane amount to retail homeowners over the past few years, they're not going to have as much jobs as they start spending less money. And they're going to be looking for people that have consistent work. And if you do what you say you're going to do, you have good customer service, you treat people right as a business owner, you're going to be able to bring in and recruit really good talent. The talent pool is going to open up. Jobs are going to be lost. There's going to be unemployment that starts going up, high inflation, all the things that are happening right now, and you are going to have the pick of the litter. What we need to do right now is, we've been talking about inside seven-figure flipping, is just kind of survive this gap. The homeowners aren't willing to accept, they are starting to accept the fact that their house price isn't as much. They're not able to sell their house for as much as they were in the past. So that's a good thing, right? And so we've been making offers $100,000 under list price on $250,000 houses right now. We're running our numbers, we're basing them off of where we think they're going to be, and we're making offers that make sense for us. The homeowners are turning their nose up at them right now, but in 3 to 6 months, if their house still doesn't sell, they might be interested, right? Or even maybe 1 month from now, 2 weeks from now. We're just going to keep following up on those offers. If we run the numbers and we do the calculations and we look at the property and we spend the time on it, we're going to make an offer regardless. Whether it's on the MLS, whether it's a wholesaler, if it's an off-market opportunity, we are going to make offers. I suggest you do the same thing. But please, do not get out of the market. Do not stop buying houses. Do not think that flipping is dead, because flipping is always alive. You just have to know your numbers. You have to provide a quality product, and people will be interested. The demand is still pretty low. The supply is still pretty low on these houses. And now we just have to look at demand. How are the supply and demand equations going? We're moving back to a more balanced market, and that's okay. We just have to get a little bit better operationally and have better efficiency inside of our business. You have to actually run a good, solid business right now instead of just buying whatever, throwing it up on the MLS, putting some paint on the pig, and throwing it up there. That's going to change, okay? We have to get really good at what we do. You have to become a business owner. All right, if you want to learn more about how we could potentially help you become a better business owner, go to sevenfigurealtitude.com. You can just click the link in the description, spend some time with us, get on a call with one of my team members, and we can help you dial in your numbers, look at your project, how to hire contractors, all of those things. We do that right here at Seven Figure Flipping. I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.